All right. How are you guys doing this morning? Good. All right. So I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes to your bell ringer. Okay. Anybody need me to read these off? Can you see them in the back? Okay, y'all good? Okay. Anybody else? You need me to read them? Okay. What was the Boston Tea Party and what was the motive behind it? And who wrote Common Sense? Common Sense is a book, pamphlet, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. Okay. So get it. All right, good deal. We'll go over these in a little bit. So actually, you know what? We'll go ahead and dive into it. All right, so what was the Boston Tea Party and what was the motive behind it? Anybody? Okay. I'm not gonna tell you right or wrong right now because we're gonna cover it here in the lesson here in just a few minutes. Anybody want to guess? Okay, go ahead. Very good guess. Very good guess. We'll go over here in a little bit. Anybody else? Okay. Who wrote Common Sense? Anybody want to guess? Go ahead. No, it's not George Washington. Close. Close. You're almost there. It is one of the founding fathers, sort of. We'll go over here a little bit. Okay. All right. So the objective. We're going to trace the events leading to the American Revolution, including the French and Indian War, the passage of the Stamp Act, the Boston Tea Party, Boston Massacre, passage of the Intolerable Acts, the battles of Lexington and Concord, and the publication of Common Sense, which we just talked about, and most importantly, the signing of the Declaration of Independence. All right. So prior knowledge. So there's things that you probably should know before. If you don't, we're going to be coming over these. We'll kind of hit little high spots here and there. So these are some things that you're probably going to need to know. So who was Samuel Adams? Okay. What battle kickstarted the Revolutionary War? We'll definitely talk about that. And who wrote the Declaration of Independence? So you should kind of have an idea of what these things are. If like I said, if you don't, like some of you may know, some of you may have forgotten. You know, I know how you guys are. Y'all forget all the time. So if you don't know, it's totally okay. We'll get into it. All right. So first, we're going to start with the French and Indian War. Okay. So it was in 1754. What did this do? Does anybody know? What did the French and Indian War start with? Okay, so it started in 1754 and went through 1763. And so this gave Great Britain territory of North America, and not just territory, but all control of North America. Okay. This definitely weakened both sides of the forces between the French and Britain. So this was one reason that it was Britain's time, or it was the colonists' time to attack Britain. Okay, Britain's forces are down. They need more troops because they just got, had a war for 9 years, So this is pretty rough for both sides, French and Britain. Okay, so little question to kind of give you guys an idea of what this is. How many of y'all have ever seen the movie The Last of the Mohicans? Anybody? Okay, so I'll kind of give you the little gist of it. So Last of the Mohicans is about this group of 3 Indians or 3 Native Americans. And, obviously you have these different tribes of Native Americans. Well, the one set of Indians, I'm pretty sure it is the Mohawk tribe. They are fighting with with France. Okay. So what is one thing that, the British is still under control in North America at this time, but we see that the British needed reinforcements, needed troops, because you got to ship. They had to ship troops from Britain all the way back over to what we call the United States now. So in this movie, the British relied on the colonists in the frontier to help them support their troops, which we'll talk about here in a little bit because it's called a militia. Anybody know what a militia is? Don't tell us now. Just raise your hand if you know what it is. Okay, we got a few. Okay, so these militiamen were asked to help with British forces and to help go fight at these different locations. Okay, kind of give you all like a little, So, anyways, so kind of see that, and that is one reason why. And you'll see if you watch the movie, you'll see why a lot of the colonists and a lot of the frontiersmen didn't really like Britain. Okay, they stabbed them in the back, and it was just their way or the highway, pretty much. Okay, all right. So next slide, we're going to talk about taxes. Okay, so you may be asking, French and Indian War happened 20, 30 years before the American Revolution happened. Yes, but so how does it tie in, right? Okay, so the war debt. We're going to start about the war debt. Okay, what does debt mean? Anybody know what debt means? Okay, it's something that you owe back, it's money that you have to pay back. Okay, so when you're in a war, you use a lot of your money, a lot of your resources, and then you go downhill. Okay, really fast. Especially in this time, it's not like today. Money don't grow on trees back then. So everything that they didn't have factories to build ammo. You had to build your own ammo, had to build your own weapons, things like this. So this is one reason why they had to tax everything. So you get the war debt, and like I said, taxes were a way to pay off the war. Okay. So we're going to kind of go a different route here, just kind of give you guys an idea of what's going on. So what is another event in history that we see that somebody is taxed because of the war? Does anybody know? Any event in history? Okay, you got an idea? Okay, yes, very good answer. So Germany, right? So Germany during World War II. Okay, we taxed them so they would not have to fight back ever again. We taxed them so much that they're still paying for it to this day. Okay, so this is just kind of a similarity of what happened then and what's happening, in the American Revolution as well. So this made the colonist actions more effective. So everything that they did, they had a purpose behind now. Okay, y'all kind of understand why? Okay, good. So so this was another reason that the French helped the colonists, was because they got defeated in the French and Indian War, and they wanted to get back at Britain. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the war debt. So first was the tax on sugar. Okay, so when we see the tax on sugar, that was the first thing that they decided to tax. Hey, you know what? Sugar's a need. Everybody has sugar. We're going to tax this, and it's going to give us more income. Okay, so this kind of goes along with the taxation without representation. Does anybody know what this means? We're going to kind of break it down if you don't. So, anyways, so taxation, we all know what taxes are. We just discussed that. So, what is representation? Anybody know what representation is? Okay, well, if you represent something, you have a belief behind it, or you have a motive behind it, right? So representation, we see that, and that they didn't want to tax, or we believed that they were taxing us without any anything to represent behind it. Okay. Yeah, maybe it was the war debt, but it wasn't on us at the time, right? Because the British, that's between Britain and France, correct? Well, the only way there's Britain's like the big bully, guys. But we gotta see this. Britain is the big bully. Okay, they're in charge here. They're the one that has the government, and so this is the reason they started taxing us. So James Otis believed, they had taxation without representation. Okay, y'all kind of get that a little bit, maybe kind of in the clear a little bit. Okay, so the colonists, they get rid of the Sugar Act through protest and boycotts. So anybody, I know y'all know what a protest is, but you know what a boycott is. That's kind of a weird word, right? Okay, so boycotting is literally saying, I'm not going to pay for this. I am not doing this until, you change your ways, whatever. Okay. So boycott means that you're not going to, you're just stopping everything you're going to do until either they change it or it's just, you're never going to do it again. Okay. So the Sugar Act, this started a long fight between Parliament. Parliament we see being Britain and the people who are on Britain, the colonists who are on Britain's side, which was, more than you think, and the colonies. So this ended up starting the American Revolution. Okay. All right. So next we're going to go into a political cartoon. We're going to kind of shift ways a little bit. And the only reason I want to do this next activity with you is because this certain political cartoon was actually created during the French and Indian War. Okay. So does anybody know what a political cartoon is? Okay. So I'll kind of give you just kind of like the gist of it. It offers a deeper meaning of a certain subject. So it's kind of calling someone or something out, but not really, hitting those certain points that, you'll just see. We're gonna do a practice one real quick, and then I'll let you dive into the next one. Okay, so right here, who's holding the gun? Okay, Uncle Sam. You remember who Uncle Sam is? The one in World War II who's pointing and saying, I want you for the army. Okay, y'all kind of understand that. So this knife here we see is Japan's cowardly attack on the U.S. So why was that cowardly? Anybody know? Okay, so they did it while the United States wasn't really expecting it. It's kind of early in the morning too, guys. So, but anyways, so they attacked Pearl Harbor, right, during World War II. And so this paper here is written out America's sincere efforts to keep peace with Japan. So what does it say that did right there? Japan stabbed America in the heart, right? So what was the only thing America had to do? We're just going to sit here and take it? No, we had to fight back, right? Fight back. So this is kind of like the political cartoon showing you guys like what it kind of is. This is kind of an easy one. So that I just want y'all to find the meaning behind these. Okay. So next we're going to do this one. Okay. This is a primary source document. So this means that this was like an actual flag, actual poster back during the French and Indian War and the American Revolution. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a few minutes, get out a piece of paper, and I want you to write out what you think this means. Okay. And I'll kind of help you a little bit. So it turns in, like I said, it turns into one of the biggest slogans of the American Revolution. And even before that, which is what? What did I just say? French Indian War. Good. So it has to do with the colonies if I might help you a little bit, states. Okay. Some of these are little states. Okay. So, and you know what? If you can write down if you can turn this in on your paper too, write it kind of at the bottom, who wrote or who invented this poster, let's give you 5 extra bonus points on the next test. Okay. So I'll give you guys 1 or 2 minutes to finish this up real quick. Okay. So we're going to kind of dive in. If you got this right, good. All right. So first, who wants to go? Who wants to answer? Okay. Yeah, that's a great answer. Great answer. Anybody else want to go? Okay. Yes, y'all are along the same lines. Y'all are almost there. Okay, good. All right. Does anybody know who wrote this? Anybody? Okay, so you do? No, it was not. It wasn't George Washington. Good guess, though. All right, so it was Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin invented this. So why? Why did he do this? Okay, so you see, we have eight different pieces of the snake together, right? Okay, so these pieces of the snake are the colonies that were already together as a team. Okay, these guys are working together. They're trying to, find a way to get rid of Britain, trying to find a way, all this good stuff. So join or die, what would that mean? What would join or die mean? Okay, so all these, how many colonies do we end up having at the end of it? If you look at the flag, the old flag with the stars, the circle, how many stars? There's 13. Okay, 13 stars. So that means there's 13 colonies. That means that there are 5 colonies that haven't joined at this time. So these colonies that are not in this, Ben Franklin is saying, guys, join us or you're gonna die from the British rule. Okay. So come pick our side, fight with us, or die on your knees, behind British rule. Y'all see this, guys? Like, this isn't like saying figurative. This isn't saying, your British are going to kill you, but this does show that if you do not stand up for what you believe and you don't stand up for your own freedom, then, you're going to die. Okay, so all right, so y'all kind of get that, kind of understand that. Okay, so we're going to go into the Boston Tea Party. Okay, so remember who we said? We're going to talk about Samuel Adams. Okay, so this is a political protest started by Samuel Adams. So who was his group that he started? Okay, it's right here on the slide. Sons of Liberty. Okay, if you haven't seen that show, it's a great show. We're actually going to watch a clip here in the next few slides, but I think it's actually the next one. And we're going to, or maybe it's the next two. Anyways, we're going to watch this and kind of go over, okay? And so, how we talked about the Mohawk Indians, earlier helping the French. So this is actually a great disguise by Sam Adams. He did great on this. So he, if they dressed up as themselves, then the British were going to definitely know who did it, what all happened. So him and the Sons of Liberty, they dressed up as Mohawk Indians and grabbed the tea and they started chunking into the Boston Harbor, right? So this happened on December 16th, 1773 in Griffin's Wharf, Boston, Massachusetts. So Griffin's Wharf, it's not, if any of y'all want to know, it is a bustling system for shipping and products. So it's kind of like a harbor. It's just everything, like where all your products come into, your ships come into. Just try to get that idea. And so there were 342 chests of tea that they just dumped into the river. Okay. And this was through the East. The tea was imported by the East India Trading Company, which helped with Britain. Okay, so the result of the Boston Tea Party. Okay, so what do y'all think would have happened? If you're president and somebody comes in and throws all your stuff away, what are you doing? Okay, so Britain shut down Boston Harbor. And so they put out that the tea needed to be paid for. And it wasn't just saying, hey, y'all better pay for this tea. They put they put actually acts down. They put, Intolerable Act and the Boston Port Act, and said this tea was to be paid for by the colonists who dumped it into the river or dumped it into the harbor. And so colonists didn't want the tax tea. That was kind of the motive behind it. It wasn't just saying, hey, you know what, we're going to be some turds and we're going to throw this tea into the river. No, it wasn't that. They just didn't want to pay for the tea. Okay. They were trying to make a statement. This was kind of like a protest. This was showing Britain, hey, we've had enough of this. And so this ended so the result of the Boston Tea Party was it ended the Massachusetts Constitution and it ended free election of town officials. Okay. So next, we're going to kind of dive in a little bit deeper to this next point here is one of the biggest reasons that, and eye openers, I guess, in the colonist view of how bad Britain actually was. Okay. So we're going to talk about the Boston Massacre. Okay. It started as a brawl in the street, but it wasn't really like any other brawl or any normal brawl. It literally started with somebody throwing some snowballs. The British soldiers got angry. So what do they do after they got angry? Guys, the colonists started picking up stones, sticks, throwing them at the British colonists, not the British colonists, but the British soldiers. And so this ended up Great Britain firing on the colonists, and it ended up killing 5. And the theory was it was against 1 British soldier, but here in this next video, we're going to kind of see that it was more than that. But so guys, this was really one of the biggest reasons that this started the Revolutionary War, and one reason that the colonists had enough of it was because there was a fine line between the British trying to stop them and saying, you know what, hey, this is enough. And instead of clicking that hammer back and actually firing on somebody trying to make their point. Okay. And so this ended up with 5 Americans dead. So this next one here, we're going to watch this short little video clip here. It'll load. Hopefully it'll load.
In the winter of 1770, Boston was an occupied city.
Boston will know order.
It actually took the Sons of Liberty in their small rebellions against the things that were not fair to show everyone that they were being stifled by the British.
This mob comes down King Street just as Private Hugh White is pushing a boy to the ground, an apprentice who had been taunting him.
The Boston Massacre was a bad decision on the British side.
The mob surrounds White. Captain Thomas Preston brings 7 soldiers down King Street.
There was troops put in place there that were known to cause trouble before. I think that's why Gage has such a poor reputation, because he hired the nastiest, bloodiest group of redcoats he could.
He's a passionate man. His heart is for England.
I want the scalp of every colonial savage.
They opened fire, and that really stirred the pot and created this whole domino effect throughout the course of history.
In seconds, 3 men were dead in the street, 2 were mortally wounded. Captain Preston demanded to know why they started shooting, and they said, "We heard fire and thought you said it."
Early the next morning, the lieutenant governor orders Captain Preston and the 8 soldiers arrested for murder.
At the trial of the soldiers, the facts of the case showed that both sides were in the wrong.
John Adams represented the soldiers. He believed in the right to counsel and the protection of innocence. That philosophy is what fueled the revolution.
The Sons of Liberty and Samuel Adams are masters of propaganda.
In newspapers throughout the colonies, Sam Adams branded the event the Boston Massacre and spun it not as some local isolated event, but as part of a vast British conspiracy to crush freedom throughout the continent.
Sons of Liberty, brought to you by revolutionary craft brewer Samuel Adams, for the love of beer.
All right, so we're not going to love some beer, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, well. Whoop. So, sorry, guys, we're getting a little ahead. All right, so as you see, we start to, oh man. So as you see, guys, the Boston Massacre, they started talking about propaganda. Anybody know what propaganda is? Okay. It's kind of like what we just talked about, Sam Adams, or not Sam Adams, but Uncle Sam pointing saying, I want you for war. That's propaganda, okay? So propaganda is trying to make somebody believe something or kind of in that way. Okay. So we see that, so that guy's that video right there, that'll tell you a lot about what happened there. All right, so next we're going to go into Lexington and Concord. Okay, this was the first, or well, hold on, I'll ask you guys, what was this? Can I give you a little hint there with the first word? Okay, yeah, right. So it was the first war of the first battle that actually kicked off the Revolutionary War. Okay, so it started on April 19th, 1775. And this is when the Massachusetts colonists actually were like, you know what, we're done. We're going to set up right here on this bridge, and we're going to wait for the British soldiers to come down through here, and we're going to strike at them. Okay. So this is where we talk about militia. Okay. So this was just a group of militiamen, okay, a group of men that said, you know what, we're tired of the way that you're treating us, so we're going to set up right here. And so the militia is untrained. Well, I say untrained. Okay, they probably train on their own. Okay, they do. These are like just your normal farmers. Guys that work in a factory. Work in these sheds, whatever. This is just your backwoods guys, if you would. So it's just a non-militaristic group of people willing to fight for a cause, right? So these guys they had enough, and they said, you know what, guys, we're going to group together. And guys, they had so many people that they outnumbered those British troops by 2,000. Okay. So this is going to kind of give you, let me move this down a little bit. So this is kind of going to give you like a little, this is a map of, this is a map from Lexington and Concord, and just kind of show you where these troops are. So if we see right here, these British troops are moving down through here. So it wasn't, this is one thing that the British actually was not used to, was troops. It's kind of guerrilla warfare, right? So before, they're used to a volley set. Okay, how many of y'all? Some of you girls might play volleyball, or some of you guys even know what volleyball is. So you hit it over. You hit your turn. You hit it over the net. They hit it. So it just kind of goes back and forth. So this was a traditional warfare at this time, and they were called it was called a volley warfare. So the British troops would fire first. Then at this time they weren't really used to this, but if we'll go back to the French and Indian War real quick. So France would fire, Britain would fire, and you wouldn't fire until your officer told you to fire, and you would sit there and you wouldn't move. So it's just you're sitting here like, am I going to get hit or not? Okay, and if you got hit, then tough luck. You were dead or you were fighting for your life. Okay, so this was one thing that the British were not used to, was these militiamen this is guerrilla warfare. So they were like, you know what, we're going to take them by surprise and we're going to scatter out. So you kind of see this right here. But these British soldiers are walking down through here, and this is where they're traveling to. They're traveling to Charlestown. But all of these, you see these American troops that are just hitting them here at different spots along through here. Okay, so that's just going to kind of give you an idea of everything going on and during Lexington and Concord. Okay, so common sense. Make sure that's right. Yeah, so common sense. Okay, Who did y'all say wrote it earlier? Thomas Jefferson? No, it's kind of close, but Thomas Paine. Okay, Thomas Paine was the one who wrote this. So it was just a 47-page pamphlet, and the motive behind this was kind of like everything else. Okay, he wanted independence from Great Britain, and he wanted this was advocating. So advocate, some of you, or well, around here we have a paper called The Advocate. Okay, so it's advocating independence from the Great Britain to the people of the 13 colonies. Okay, so his main point here was independence from England, and one thing that we all love, democracy. Okay, democratic republic. He wanted a democratic republic. Okay, so last but not least, well, kind of last. So the Declaration of Independence, guys, this is one of the most important documents in American history. Okay, so this was all 13 American colonies taken away from British rule. Okay, this is the official act taken by the 13 colonies, the official act taken by the 13 colonies and declaring independence from British rule. Okay, and it had 4 main points in it. Okay, it was the preamble, a list of grievances, it was a formal declaration of independence, and the signatures. So some of you guys and girls might have seen the Declaration of Independence, but who has the biggest signature on there? Good, John Hancock. Good. So if you ever hear somebody say, "Hey, I need your John Hancock," it means your signature. Okay. So this was written by Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Roger Sherman, and Robert R. Livingston. Does anybody know what those five men right there, what were they called? Anybody? Okay. So this was called a Committee of Five. Okay. There's 5 guys, Committee of 5, and these guys would get together and they would write. And one thing that Thomas Jefferson had on everybody else about the Declaration of Independence was he was the governor of Virginia. Okay. And so he was the one that actually made the Virginia Constitution. So they kind of based everything that they wrote on the Declaration of Independence for the United States. They kind of based everything they did behind Thomas Jefferson's Constitution of Virginia. So Thomas Jefferson, guys, was probably one of the main writers of the Declaration of Independence. But don't knock out these other 4 guys, because they definitely helped there as well. And so we have 4th of July, which is Independence Day, but it was actually it was finished July 2nd, and it was only adopted on the 4th. So that's why we do July 4th. All right, so how do these all tie together? So these events are the main cause for independence. And so the groups of Sons of Liberty, like the Sons of Liberty, and who we just talked about, the Committee of 5, which is Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, all those guys, okay, they helped push that way to independence. And freedom was not given but won. Okay, guys, nothing is given anymore. Okay, even back then, nothing was given. Okay, you had to win it. And so it boils down to this boils down to the colonists being tired of British rule, and they decided they wanted to take control in their own hands. And guys, they did a great job. They formed together, guys. This is what it means to be a union and to be united. That's one reason I think they named this the United States, because guys, they came together. Okay. All right, so a little activity to end the class, guys. I want you to partner up. So we're just gonna do this pretty simple. So if you're in the front right here, I just want you to turn around, and that person is your partner. Okay. Now, if you're the 3rd person, turn around and look at your partner. Okay, and so on. That's going to be your partner group. Okay, so it's going to be 2 of you guys or 2 of you guys and girls, and we're going to give 5 minutes. We're going to give 5 minutes to create your own political cartoon. Okay. And so this needs to be school appropriate. Don't put anything inappropriate, because if you do, I'm gonna have to take you to the office, whatever, call your parents, and then they're not gonna be too happy. And so this has to be based on some form of history. Okay. I'm not gonna let you do one for American for the American Revolution, I would like for you to, if you can. But if you can't come up with something like that, then do one for your own, like just any form of history is fine. Okay. And just like I said, it can be even up to present day. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. And if you have any questions, just come talk to me and I'll try to help you out as much as possible. Okay. Okay. Yeah, kind of got it. Kind of got the idea, guys. Okay. So if you're or at the end of class, we'll just put these up at the front of the desk or on my desk or at the front of the classroom. Or actually, yeah, just do that. Put them at the front of the classroom in y'all's designated class basket. Okay. Okay, guys. So we're kind of running out of time here. I'm going to kind of show you what to do. You can do this at home, actually. Okay. Or we might, if we've got time tomorrow, we might do this too. So we're going to play Jeopardy. Okay. I know y'all know what Jeopardy is. Okay. So if you want to go home and kind of study these, I'm going to send you guys all this PowerPoint. That way you can go home, study it a little bit. If you haven't already took notes. So, you can do how many ever teams here and you'll just press start. And on each category, this is just the American Revolution Jeopardy. Okay. This is going to be fun for you guys. If you want to go home and study this, y'all can. We're going to probably knock this out tomorrow. Okay. And then Quizlet. All right, so this is going to be this is going to be the test, guys. Okay, so some of these are going to be from the test, whatever. So just go here, click on this link, and then you can go to the Quizlet link. I'll show you guys how this works. Well, you'll just click on this link, guys, and then after that, you will go through there, and they're just kind of like flashcards. They're quick flashcards that's been made, and we'll go over that. All right, so get out a sheet of paper real quick. I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that, and then we're going to kind of end class, and then y'all are going to have a great day. So let me know when everybody's good. Raise your hand when you've got everything out. Okay. Everybody good? Okay. So this is your exit ticket. We're gonna go through these one by one, okay? So I'm gonna ask you these questions and you just write them down, okay? I want you to go ahead and number your paper. One, skip a line, 2, skip a line, 3, skip a line, 4. Okay. So question number 1, who made up the committee of 5? Okay. Who made up the committee of 5? All right. And these are on the board. So if you need to go back, you can look at them. Okay. Who led the Sons of Liberty? Who was the main individual for the Sons of Liberty? All right. What battle kickstarted the American Revolution? Remember, guys, it's two places or 2 names. Okay. Kind of give you a little hint there. And during the Boston Tea Party, what did the Sons of Liberty disguise themselves as? And be specific on this too. Don't just say, don't just say the lesser of the options here. Be specific. All right, guys. So once you're done with these, everybody pass them up to the front of the row. And then after everybody at the front row's got them, pass them down all the way down to the left here, and then I'll pick them up here. And then that'll be your daily grade for today. And so will your political cartoon, if it's appropriate. I hope it was all appropriate, guys. So, all right, guys. So they're about to go out here and they're about to swap classes. So I hope y'all have a great day. And just guys, remember, be positive today. If you need me for anything, let me know. All right. Y'all have a good one.